When he had described the plan and purpose of the 4 English seasons to her, she had responded, as she all too regularly did, "I am sure, Leonard, it will be very fine." But her neck was tight as she said it, and she peered at her darning with unnecessary force. "Why not say what you think, woman?" She was becoming secretive and devious. For instance, he pretty much suspected that she had taken to her knees these last years. Punaise de sacristie, he had challenged. She hadn't liked that. She'd liked it less when he had guessed another of her little games. "I will see no priest," he'd told her. "Or rather, if I so much as smelt one, I shall attack him with the fire-tongs." She hadn't liked that, oh no. "We are both old people now, Leonard," she had mumbled. "Agreed, and if I fail to attack him with the fire-tongs, consider me senile." He banged on the boards, and the maid, whatever was her name, came up at a trot. "Numéro 6," he said. She knew not to reply, but nodded, wound the EMG, put on the first movement of the viola sonata, and watched the needle's stationary progress until it was time, with fleet and practised wrists, to flip the record over. She was good, this one. Just a brief halt at a level crossing, then the music resumed. He was pleased. Tertis knew his business. Yes, he thought, as she lifted the needle, they cannot gainsay that. "Merci," he murmured, dismissing the girl. When Adeline returned, she looked questioningly at Marie-Thérèse, as she always did. "Numéro 6," replied the maid. The first movement of the viola sonata. He must have been angry, either that or suddenly fearful over his reputation. She had come to understand the shorthand of his requests, to read his mood from the music he demanded. 3 months ago he had heard his last Grieg. 2 months ago his last Chopin. Since then, not even his friends Busoni and Sibelius, just the music of Leonard Verity. The second piano quartet, the Berlin suite, the oboe fantasy with the revered Hussens, the pagan symphony, the 9 French songs, the viola sonata. She knew the articulations of his work as once she had known the articulations of his body. And she admitted that in general he recognized what was finest in his output. But not the 4 English seasons. She had thought from the moment he had first talked about it, then blocked it out with his thinned fingers on the piano, that the scheme was misconceived. When he told her it was in 4 movements, one for each season, beginning with spring and ending with winter, she judged it banal. When he explained that it was not, of course, a mere programmatic representation of the seasons, but a kinetic evocation of the memory of those seasons filtered through the known reality of other non-English seasons, she judged it theoretical. When he chuckled at the notion that each movement would fit perfectly on the 2 sides of a gramophone record, she judged it calculating. Suspicious of the early sketches, she had liked the work no more in published form. She doubted that hearing it would convert her. They'd always agreed from the beginning to value truth above mere social form. But when truths collide and one of them is dismissed as the squalid personal opinion of an ignorant, foolish Frenchwoman, then perhaps there was something to be said for social form. Heaven knew she had always admired his music. She had given up her career, her life for him. But instead of weighing with him, this now seemed to count against her. The truth was, she thought, that this was her truth, that some composers had a fine late flowering, and others did not. Perhaps the elegy for solo cello would be remembered, though Leonard grew suspicious nowadays at her too frequent praise of it, but not the 4 English seasons. "Leave such things to Elgar," she had said. What she had meant was, "You seem to me to be courting the country you deliberately left, indulging a nostalgia of the kind you've always despised. Worse, you seem to be inventing a nostalgia you do not truly feel in order to indulge it. Having scorned reputation, you now appear to be seeking it. If only you had said to me triumphantly that your work would not fit onto gramophone records." There were other truths, or squalid personal opinions, that she could not transmit to him. That she herself was not well, and the doctor had talked of surgery. She had replied that she would wait until the current crisis was over, by which she meant until Leonard is dead, when it will not matter to me whether I submit to surgical intervention or not. His death had priority over hers. She did not resent this. She did, however, resent being called a punaise de sacristie. She had not been going to Mass, and the idea of confession after all these decades struck her as grotesque. But everyone must approach eternity in their own way, and when she sat alone in an empty church, she was contemplating extinction, not its palliation by ritual. Leonard would pretend not to see the difference. Thin end of the wedge, he would say, had said.